Hello students, today we are going to start a new chapter of class 11, that is respiration in higher plants. In the previous chapter we have seen that photosynthesis in higher plants. Today we are going to study about respiration in higher plants. See, respiration you have read it in class 10. And in that, perhaps if you remember, you have just read that respiration means breakdown of the food substances or oxidation of food substances, which of course is taking place in presence of oxygen to release energy. Because we all know that living things, whatever work we want to do, every work requires a storage of energy in the body cells, and that storage of energy can be only obtained by means of the respiratory substrate, which will be acted upon to release the energy in a stepwise process. Of course, you can say that yes, respiration can be sometimes compared to that of combustion, because combustion is also release of energy. But there is a difference between respiration and combustion in the sense is that respiration is a cellular process. Okay, that means it takes place within the cell of an organism, whereas combustion is something which is a physical process. It is an external process, and respiration also releases energy. Combustion also releases energy, but in case of combustion, the energy which is released, it is released in a large amount along with that of sometimes sound or sometimes other forms of energy like light, and it is not controllable. Whereas respiration, since it is a cellular process, so definitely the respiration is a stepwise release of process, and this energy can be stored in the body cells and can be utilized from time to time to do various metabolic activities of the living organism, like maintenance of the body temperature. Sometimes you will find some organisms show a property of bioluminescence, isn't it? That means they can emit light. So for emitting light they need energy, and that energy will be coming out from the stored that is your energy in the form of ATP. So ATP is the energy currency of a cell. Similarly, you will find there are certain organisms in the sea called the electric ray fish. They produce a certain voltage of electricity. So that is also energy that is also obtained from that of the oxidation of the food substances. So the substrate which generally is utilized by the living organisms to obtain energy is the fundamental substrate is glucose. But it is not that only the glucose is the form of substrate from which the oxidation will take place and resulting into the formation of ATP. There are some other substrates also, like protein is a substrate which can be utilized or oxidized to release energy. When protein is acting as a substrate to release energy, we call that type of respiration to be the protoplasmic respiration. Okay. And when the respiration we are using the substrate in the form of carbohydrate, glucose is the simplest form, and fats, then in that case this type of respiration where the substrate is carbohydrate or fats, we call this type of respiration to be floating respiration. So depending upon the substrate we can classify the respiration into two types, that is protoplasmic respiration when the substrate is protein, and floating respiration when the substrate is carbohydrate or fats. Fine. Okay, now respiration, we have come to know the definition, the release of energy. Sometimes when we were small especially, and somebody used to ask us what is respiration, we used to say the taking in of oxygen and giving out of carbon dioxide. That is what is called respiration. It is not respiration, it is called breathing, or sometimes it is also called as your external respiration. Understood? Because here it's a simple process of exchange of gases. But when this gas which is taken up by the respiratory organ, because respiratory, animals have a respiratory system, but plants do not have respiratory system. So through this respiratory system, via the blood, the oxygen reaches to each cell of the body of an animal, and there the oxidation of food substances takes place. But as far as the plants are concerned, they do not have this respiratory system in their body. They have rather respiratory organs. Plants, the exchange of gases is very easy in the sense that's the reason why they don't need a respiratory system, because most of the pores or the openings present in the plants through which the exchange of gases takes place are external or superficial, especially the leaves, which is a flat surface which is exposed to the sunlight or which is exposed to the environment very easily. It has stomata. The stomata are the minute pores which are guarded by the guard cells through which exchange of gases takes place, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Of course, stomata is also one of the organs through which excess of water is released into the surrounding in the form of water vapor, that is transpiration also takes place through it. But the primary organ, if you say in case of plants, through which this exchange of gases takes place is a leaf through in which there are lots of your stomata through which exchange of gases can take place. Besides this, the other things which are associated with the plants through which exchange of gases can take place, another one is called lenticels. Now what are these lenticels? Lenticels are the lens shaped pores present in the woody parts of the plant, especially the trunk of the plant, branches of the plant, the stems of the plants, the older stem of course, where there is a lack of stomata. So there also exchange of gases can take place through these openings, but these openings are open forever, means this is not being regulated like that of the guard cells are regulating the opening and closing of the stomata. So exchange of gases takes place through that also. And another type of plants perhaps which are growing in the marshy land, that is called the mangrove plants, Rhizophora, okay, Heritiria. These plants, in them the exchange of gases takes place through the specialized organs, you can say, called pneumatophores. Pneumatophores are, you can say, growing against gravity, through which the exchange of gases are taking place in the marshy land, these plants which are growing over there. So this is since it's an introductory class, so just I'm going to say what do you mean by respiration, what depending upon substrates, how the respiration can be classified, what are the respiratory organs involved, and all these things. Now the thing is that we have come to know that carbohydrate is the simplest and the abundant form of respiratory substrate used for the oxidation and for the release of energy. So 1 gram of glucose on complete oxidation gives 36 ATP molecules. In some books you will say 38 molecules. We will be coming to it whether it is 36 or 38. There is still a confusion between that, but yes, 36 or 38 ATP molecules, and that is your gram of glucose, if you say in terms of kilocalories, that is your 686 kilocalories of energy it is releasing as per as aerobic respiration concerned. Now what is aerobic respiration? Now I did not mention it here because in my next class I am going to take up this issue of aerobic respiration, but yes, let us write it, there is no problem in that. So respiration, again depending upon whether oxygen is utilized or not, can be of 3 types. Okay, we can classify it. One is called as your aerobic respiration, another one is called as your anaerobic respiration, it is anaerobic respiration, and the third one is called as your fermentation. Now this one and this one you have read it in class 10. Aerobic respiration means when the oxidation of food substances is taking place in presence of free molecular oxygen. Then we call that type of respiration to be aerobic respiration, and the amount of energy released in case of aerobic respiration is also more compared to that of anaerobic respiration or fermentation. As far as anaerobic respiration is concerned, what is ana? Ana means absent. In biology, ana means absent. Okay, so anaerobic respiration means where the free molecular oxygen is not there. Oxygen is there but in a binded form, like nitrate, carbonate. Okay, so when there is oxygen but not free oxygen, okay, but a binded oxygen, oxygen is available but in binded form to accept the things, then in that case it is called as your anaerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration, the fundamental difference is that here oxygen is free, oxygen is available. Here oxygen in a compound form, in a binded form it is obtained to perform the activity. As a result, definitely the energy released is only 2 ATP molecules. Okay, and this aerobic respiration is cellular, anaerobic respiration is also cellular. Generally we see anaerobic respiration in case of certain group of bacteria, or sometimes we see it also in case of organisms like yeast and all. Then what is the difference between anaerobic and fermentation? Now fermentation process is also, you can say, oxidation of food substances in the absence of oxygen. Here the food substance is broken down in the complete absence of oxygen. Here the food substance is broken down in the lack of oxygen, free oxygen. Okay, so here oxygen is not freely available as we see in case of aerobic. Here oxygen is present, but it is in a binded form, in a compound form, like I said, carbonate. Okay, like I said, nitrate. But in this case, fermentation, it is totally lacking oxygen, absence of oxygen. That is what is fermentation. Here also 2 ATP molecules are generated at the end of, fermentation process. Now fermentation has further more difference from that of anaerobic respiration is that anaerobic respiration takes place in the cell of an organism. Fermentation can take place in a cytoplasm, in the cell of an organism, but it can be external also. Okay, so that is the difference between that of the fermentation and that of the anaerobic respiration. Fermentation, of course, in some books you will find that is homolactic fermentation, heterolactic fermentation. That is fermentation depending upon the end products. End products is carbon dioxide in case of fermentation. Sometimes it is alcohol, and sometimes it is some kind of acids like lactic acid or acetic acid or butyric acid, as we see in case of your fermentation. So when it is more than one end product, like along with that of ethanol you find lactic acid also, we call it as hetero. And when it is only a single type, suppose lactic acid fermentation, so in that case the end product is carbon dioxide, water and lactic acid, so it is called as your homolactic fermentation. So depending upon the kind of end products which are formed at the end of the fermentation, fermentation can be further classified, but it is not there in your NCERT, so we need not go so deeper into, but definitely you should know the primary difference between the aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration and that of the fermentation, and also the energy output, also the substrate which it is acting upon, like in case of aerobic respiration glucose, anaerobic respiration also if it is glucose, fermentation also if it is glucose. And where does it take place? Oh, I forgot to tell you that aerobic respiration takes place in the various parts of a cell. If we consider a cell, a cell has a cytoplasm and the cell has various organelles in it. So the cell cytoplasm is the place where the initial steps of the aerobic respiration takes place, which we call it as your glycolysis. Glyco word has come from glucose and lysis means breakdown. So the breakdown of the glucose into what? Into pyruvic acid. That all steps which is coming under the topic called glycolysis takes place in the cell cytoplasm. Okay, it takes place in the cell cytoplasm. And the next that is step, which is called the Krebs cycle, it takes place in the mitochondria, in the matrix of the mitochondria. And of course after that there is an electron transport system, ETS we call it, that takes place within the, that is the inner membrane of the that is your mitochondria is involved. So basically it is the aerobic respiration which takes place in two places. The anaerobic part where the oxygen is not involved, that portion is taking place in the cytoplasm of a cell, and the latter part of the aerobic respiration is, that is a Krebs cycle, it is taking place in the mitochondria, in the matrix of the mitochondria. And the anaerobic respiration, it is taking place in the cell cytoplasm. And as I said about the fermentation, fermentation can take place intracellularly or it can be extracellular also. That means the enzyme may come out or precipitate out of the cell and it can act upon the substrate outside the cell of the organism and convert it into the desirable product. Okay, so this is the primary difference between that of the aerobic, anaerobic and respiration and that of the fermentation. So today it was an introductory class of this chapter called the respiration in higher plants. I hope you have just got a preliminary idea that what is a respiratory substrate, what do you mean by floating respiration, what do you know about the protoplasmic respiration, what are the three types of respiration depending upon presence or absence of oxygen, and what are actually the organs involved in case of higher plants through which exchange of gases takes place. We will continue with our aerobic respirations details. The first step is the glycolysis followed by Krebs cycle in our coming classes. That's all for today's class.